So if you want to progress on your spiritual path, and it's clear that the yogic path is a path from the gross, the matter, to the subtle, the energy, right? So pranayama is the method, the way to do that. Here we are.
All right, here we are, session number 3. And we just had Arno and I could talk for hours, actually, that's for sure. We are here with Arno and Veen, better known in the yogic circles of the Netherlands as Arno Pranayama. And Arno has been doing and teaching pranayama for almost 30 years now. He is, in my mind, one of the Netherlands' foremost authorities when it comes to yogic breath. And Arno has been sharing with us some of his experiences, a little bit of, I wouldn't call it theory, I would call it more what it's all about, what it feels like, what to look for. And before going any further, Arno, you mentioned that you have been working on a couple of courses that you are actively now starting to share with people, and that you will be running. I presume these are in groups as opposed to some of the one-on-one sessions that you and I have had in the past. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about those programs that you've...
Yeah, since I almost do this work now for 30 years, I felt it was time to create a course, an education about it. And also since I have seen and experienced how the breath in the yoga world is still very under focused. How do you say that? Under, it doesn't get much attention from the best teachers that we have. There's
the focus is too much on posture, perhaps.
There's way too much on asana. So if you want to progress on your spiritual path, and it's clear that the yogic path is a path from the gross, the matter, to the subtle, the energy, right? So pranayama is the method, the way to do that. Breath work is the way to do that. So I felt to make a beautiful course. It took me about 2-3 years to write it, really, to make it really fit all together and think about it and read books and read some scriptures and so on and so forth. So now I have a 2-year with an additional 3rd year, but let's say a 2-year education course to become a breath and pranayama coach. And it's specifically focused on yoga teachers, but it's also for any breath talent, meaning anybody who is passionate about the breath can come. It can also be physiotherapists who like to work a bit with the breath in their practice, it's like that. So it's 6 times a year, 2 days, 6 times a year, a weekend. It's the whole, and we start around 12 in the afternoon, only, on Saturdays and on Sundays, and then we work till 7:30, something like that. And we have 6 gatherings per year, and in between you do a daily practice of at least 1 hour a day. Of course, you can miss a day every now and then, you need to stay relaxed. But that is the setup, and you also learn to coach each other in the breathing. And the first year is basically the main technique. We do some yoga techniques and some kriyas, but the main technique is the rebirthing breathing, the conscious connected breath, because it is the most easy, it is the most healing, and it is the most teaching you to let go and relax and surrender. Because all the traditional pranayamas, they are a lot about control. And as I said in the other sessions, we are these days uber controlled. We want to control ourselves, our emotions, our energy. We want to control our partner. We want to control our death. We want to control everything, our children, everything. Yeah? So we need to learn to let go and be in a state of surrender. And the rebirthing breathing helps you with that. So first to master surrender. Once you've mastered that, we go into the second year, and in the second year we do the most important traditional pranayamas, which then is opposite from the new pranayama, the rebirthing. In the rebirthing, it's a connected breathing. You do not hold the breath. You make it really ongoing, circular, like breath waves. They never stop. And in the traditional pranayama, you learn to work with kumbhaka, with holding the breath. And in the holding of the breath, you can focus on some body parts or on some mental states that you have, and bring energy there or take energy away from it. Then you start to play with prana.
Yes, absolutely. And would you say that in the when you have the traditional pranayama, that there is still a value to those, and that they can be used with very specific objectives in mind? And one of the things that comes to my mind when I'm saying this is, I just learned, for example, this retention technique. I believe it's called the 9 breaths. I think it's a Qigong thing where you breathe deeply a few times, and then you hold, but you bring it from the chest down to the belly or the heart.
Yeah, these are yogic techniques or Tibetan techniques, yeah.
It seems to be a highly energizing technique that has a different purpose also than the conscious connected breath, right? It's more of an energizing technique.
It's more dangerous as well, because you work so deeply into that pranic body, and this kumbhaka thing, this holding, this retention, it sends up the kundalini energy a lot, yeah, which is one of the purposes, because if the kundalini energy along the spine is going up towards the crown chakra, yeah, that is creating more awareness. It's an expansion of awareness, right? Which we want as yogis,
yes,
or as not yogis, you know. But this is the path that we're on as human beings.
Absolutely.
To expand our awareness, to become more aware. But it can go too fast.
Yes, as
This
I
is
can
Kundalini
attest.
And me myself also.
As I can attest, and maybe, so we spoke about doing a little demo for the viewers, and before going there, tell a little bit of a story of how things can go wrong.
Because we want you, really, I talk to all your watchers and listeners, it can be dangerous. So you need to take very small steps in pranayama, in breathwork, smaller even than in asana. You know, if you're doing an asana with the wrong technique or with the wrong intensity, it will not hurt you immediately. Over time, you will get injuries. But in the pranic body, if you overdo it, you will immediately get a full-on reaction.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's dangerous. We want you to stay grounded. We want you to feel good. I want you to feel good. And I want you to be healthy. So please take caution. And you're going to share a little bit about your experience. Maybe I'm also going to share a little bit about my experience in the past. But yeah,
I think it's important to do so.
People know what can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Because once again, right? You would think that just from breathing in funny ways, nothing can really happen. But no, it is quite intense. It goes very, very deep into your nervous system and into your body, in places where, if we compared it to a computer, we're tinkering around with the operating system here, right? We're no longer doing playing with an app. And say, no, you're playing with the operating system of your
high
body,
voltage.
your mind. High voltage. So you're tapping into places of your autonomic nervous system, which are typically not available to the normal user. Let's put it that way. And so you want to be a super user, you have to take responsibility. You have to be very, very careful with these things. It's not a joke. This is not a toy. And so the experience that I had, and I've shared this in the channel, is coming back from my Vipassana retreat. After 10 days of very intense meditation, my energy had risen to my head, and I was highly dysregulated, you could say. I was manic. I was feeling energy waves moving in very strange ways. Temperature I don't know, maybe some of these waves affect your hormones for all we know, or things around your system that need to be in very delicate balance.
And this was for meditation.
This was
so much
only
for
from meditation.
Yeah.
Just literally sitting and moving my attention around the body created enough energy to rise and start acting in funny ways. And the first person I called when I got back was Arno, and I said, Arno, I need help. What do I do? Arno said, we need to ground you. He gave me a few exercises, and that has led to a lot of new learnings and a lot of new understandings, which is in the long run very, very good. But the word of caution is still there, I would say, and maybe you also have some stories to share about about this.
I am also energetically very sensitive. I've always been. When I started in my early 20s with my journey with breath work, and also I started to do Kundalini yoga at that time, which is a special form of yoga asana practice. And they do a lot with breathing as well, but they also do a lot with kumbhaka, with the holding of the breath, and then pumping the energy along the spine up to the crown chakra. And that was at that time, it was great, because you get explosions of energy, you know, and they somehow relax you. But the thing is that when you're unbalanced in your energy flow, which basically everybody in the Western world is, because we're all up here in the mind, the energy is really focused here, we're top heavy, energy is always flowing up to the mind in a not so good way. We want the energy to rise, but not just in the mind. We want the energy to flow freely up and down, down and up. But so what happened to me is that the energy was rising very easy. I had amazing spiritual, pranic, energy body experiences. But after a couple of months, let's say I did it for almost 2 years or 1 year, I don't remember exactly. But at some time, after a couple of months of these intense experiences, I became ungrounded as well. I had dreams, strange dreams. And then I was talking to a guy who was a bit kind of a medium. He was also my Tai Chi teacher at the time. And he said, okay, let's do a session. So he gave me a session, and he was tuning into me, and he said, you have to stop immediately with this form of yoga, which I found a pity because I loved it. But he said, it's too intense for you. You must learn to bring your energy back down again. And I couldn't at the time.
No.
I could not yet, you know. Now I can. Now I have other exercises, things. I am more balanced as a whole. But so that came with physical exercise, meditation, and breathing, and all these things together. And this is why I like the rebirthing breathing. It is the least dangerous breathing method. Because if you do the exhale well, you're releasing and you're relaxing, and the energy flows down.
Yes.
In the inhale, the energy flows up a bit, or wherever you want it, or maybe in the beginning you're not busy with where you want it. That's also great, maybe even better. But on the exhale, you're releasing. You know, I always tell people on the exhale to connect with the feeling of relaxation, of letting go, of letting flow, of releasing and relaxing. And relaxing is always grounding. If we're not grounded, we're not relaxed.
And so the move from head to heart to hara to your feet.
Yes.
It's moving that energy downwards.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one of the principles to keep in mind, let's say. I mean, there are these yogic practices, like you mentioned, which bring the energy from down to up.
Yeah.
And they have their own place, and if it fits with you, with your type of system, let's say.
Yeah. But you also need to bring it down.
But you need to know how to bring it down. And so on that note...
So you need guidance, people. We will do a little bit of rebirthing breathing together, so you can also practice it at home for a little bit. But do not start with longer than 5 or 10 minutes. I even say that to the people who have come to a workshop with me, you know, and then it's a 3.5 hour workshop, and they've gotten a lot of personal advice as well and adjustments on their breath. So they're more experienced, but you know, 5 to 10 minutes you can do safely. And please don't do more. Come for guidance and then practice at home, then come back for guidance. You know, I will adjust your breath again, like a little bit here, a little bit there, details, but important details. And then you practice again and you practice better. In the beginning, you just need a teacher, you need a guide. You know, and find him. If it's not me or her, you know, find somebody.
Absolutely, and I can attest to that as well, because from many of the videos and books that I've read, I learned a few basic things, but within the first session with you, my understanding of pranayama went from, let's say, 2 to 5 or whatever you want to call it,
Great.
In a single go, and then we've been doing a little bit more work after that. So getting a teacher that really knows what they're talking about is, I would say, fundamental if you want to go into what this is really about, because anybody can do alternate nostril and think that they've done pranayama and it'll be fine. I don't think there's nothing can go very wrong with that, but to really get the most out of that practice, you got to go a little bit deeper than that. Yeah. And speaking of going deeper, shall we give it a go? Shall we have a
Let's
minute?
Just do it. There's so much more to say, but at some point we just have to breathe ourselves. I'm also getting a bit high of all this talking.
Yes.
And my energy is going up. So, and also for you people, just breathe with us. So to explain first, on the inhale, you take in the breath, you pull in the breath as if you're drinking it in through a straw. So you purse your lips a little bit, and it's an audible breath, een hoorbare adem. Yeah. So the inhale is like this. The exhale, you open the jaw a bit more, you relax the lips. A wave in. A soft ha sound. So I move my hands up and down to mean, to signal actually that first you're breathing into the belly, then up into the chest, and then exhale, you're just letting go. But it's a bit of an energetic downward letting go, letting flow. Very nice. Just continue. And keep breathing. If you want to join us, keep breathing. So you never hold the breath, not after the exhale. When the exhale's almost done, your inhale is starting again. And when you're almost fully inhaled, your exhale is starting again. It's like the waves of the ocean. They're always coming or going, right? Continue a little longer. You can close your eyes if you want, so your attention is more inwardly focused. You know now how to do it. Find your own fullness of the breath on the inhale. Make it pleasurable, make it full and pleasurable, and find a nice rhythm that fits your state of being right now, that is also pleasurable. So a pleasurable fullness, nicely full. Take time for the inhale, really take time, filling up all the gaps. And exhale, relax, release, let go, a soft ha sound. You don't want to push it out, you want to soften it. Well, let's do a little bit more. Let's say 5 more breaths. 1, it to keep your own rhythm. And exhale. Let the whole inhale be pleasurable. Let the whole exhale be pleasurable. If it is not, adjust it a little bit. Make it fuller or make it softer and more gentle. This is the third breath. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just breaking the pattern of subventilation that I was talking about in the first session. And now the fifth one, make it count as full as you can without becoming stressed. And release, let go. Now, don't stop it abruptly. Allow the breath to go however it wants to go now. There might be some impulses from the body to take a few deeper breaths still, and just allowing that. Maybe a deep sigh happens. Just be natural, be real. Do not control now. Just surrender to the breath as it is. You might still have your eyes closed. In the end, that would be best. For now, you like to watch maybe a bit. That's also fine. You see, if you allow, the body picks up on it immediately. It loves it. It starts to heal. It starts to release any tension that you've built up. And it's all maybe still very subtle, but it is there. It is happening. I like it.
Yes, it's amazing. You mentioned before we did this, as we were prepping for this third clip, that there was a certain energy in the room, and you felt yourself also becoming hyper by all this talking that we're doing. You said, if we do this, this is also going to help us and bring a different energy to it, and you can
immediately
feel it. It's very palpable, of course.
Yeah.
So this course that you're talking about, Arno, sounds like quite a commitment. So this is not for people who are just starting to explore this. It's perhaps for people who want to get really a little bit more into it. Would you say?
Yes.
Or would you say that it's content-wise for anybody who wants to explore?
Yeah, it's for everybody. Yeah? So it's for yoga teachers and breath talents. It's for anybody who feels passionate about the breath. So especially, I would say the first year, you can just do it to go deeper into your personal growth, to explore yourself in a deeper way, and that is perfectly fine. But so you do not have to want to become a breath coach. I'd like people come for that, of course, because I want to pass on my knowledge and my experience, so that when I'm dying, I'm still very much alive, but when I'm dying in 20, 30, 40 years, you know, I don't know, then at least, you know, I've passed on a lot of my knowledge. I want to pass on so much more. So that is my reason, and so yeah, I like people to work more with the breath. And since yoga now is, since almost 10 years, growing exponentially, there is some more breath awareness happening. I even do short breathing sessions of like half an hour with CEOs. Sometimes I'm being hired or called in by a master coach, and she wants me to kick off the day when she's training these banksters or, you know, CEOs from all kinds of multinationals. And I make them breathe, so I make them feel, I make them relaxed. Of course, they're very skeptical in the beginning. Yes. Very critical, skeptical. They don't believe it, they don't trust it. But somehow I get them to keep breathing in this rhythm, and then after 5 or 10 minutes, you know, these endorphins start to kick in. Yes. And they start to feel a little bit. They start to relax a little bit because they're under really high tension, these people.
And what a gift you're giving them, because it may be the case, as I was telling you with my father, for example, who was a very stressed man for many years, is you're giving them something that maybe they haven't felt for decades or ever.
Never ever.
Yes, and what a gift that is, I think.
Yeah. And some they stay in the mind, they become fully resistant because the minimizing of the breath and the holding of the breath is a resistant pattern. It's a survival strategy. It's resisting what is, right? Instead of connecting with what is, it is resisting what is and not feeling what is. So once we explore the breath and we deepen the breath and we expand the breath, then of course we reconnect also with the original resistance.
Right.
Right? And this is for everyone at some point in the sequence of breathing sessions, that they're gonna feel within themselves a lot of resistance. Resistance against the breath technique, resistance against themselves and their feelings, resistance against the breathing therapist or breathing coach, all kinds of resistances.
And these are the barriers that start to come down as
exactly,
you practice.
Because anyway, you embrace all sensations, also your resistance. If you resist your resistance, then you have a problem.
Yes. Well, that's it goes in a spiral.
Yeah, it gets worse and worse.
That's right.
So you have to embrace everything. So you end up in total acceptance. And I say to a lot in my workshops, I say to the people, you all want as a result of your spiritual practice, whether it's yoga or this workshop or whatever you do, you want as a result total acceptance of yourself. This is something unconsciously or consciously we all want.
Yes.
We want to accept ourselves completely, to be in full peace with ourselves and in full peace with the people around us. This is what we all want.
It's a feeling that you long for.
Yeah. So this we see as a kind of purpose, as a kind of result of the practice, which it is. But it is also the path. It is the practice. You practice straight on with full acceptance of all, of everything. No resistance. Resistance creates minimizing of the breath, creates stress, creates anxiousness.
And we're trying to work towards the opposite of that.
Exactly. So
through
this
a
is
technique that is very accessible, if you will, and very tangible.
Yeah, and we do certain meditations in the first year and the second year of the course that we were talking about. Certain meditations, certain breathwork techniques, certain kriyas from the yoga, which is purification techniques. Certain body work exercises, a bit of asana here and there, but we're more focused on the breath and other stuff than making it another asana course, which there are now everywhere in the country.
That's right.
You can do in every city a couple of
which is a good thing,
asana courses,
yes.
Which is fantastic, but it's not what I'm offering. And so, the first year, you see, when you want to become a coach and work with people with the breath, your own experience is your teacher and is what you can pass on. And this is the thing that I liked also in my yoga asana courses that I followed, that I was a student in. This is always what they said, as a teacher, you always fall back on your own experiences from your practice. So your self-practice is the most important. Your experience for yourself with the breath work is the most important and is guiding you, guiding others.
Absolutely.
And so the first year, but also even the second year, can be just for your personal experience and personal growth. But basically, I want to train trainers. I want to train teachers.
People who can eventually take this and bring it to the next
bring it
level.
more. Because it's very liberating. I've written a book. I will grab it. One moment.
Arno's plugging in his book.
Yes.
Here it is.
So, here it is. Let's see if you can read that. Ja, adem en extase, de bevrijding, the liberation, let's say it's called. So breath is very liberating. It's liberating you from all kinds of patterns, whether they are physical, behavioral patterns, emotional patterns, mental patterns.
You name it.
You name it.
Can do it for you.
The breath is, really reaching all those levels. It goes into every cell of your body. It goes into every part of you, into your being. And it will break down anything that you are not. So it will break down all your culturalization, all your education, all that you are not, that you've been taking in from your teachers, from your culture, from authorities. I like people to be free, free, authentic people. This we need.
That's
in
a
this
beautiful
society.
Aspiration to have, and I think
Yes.
you're moving in that direction with the book, with the course.
The book is available on my website.
There you go.
ademenextase.nl.
We'll put the link at the bottom of the clip
great,
for you guys.
Great.
And on that note, I think we gotta call it a day on this one. Arno.
Really? Short
we've
one?
Been, yes.
Oh, 30 minutes.
We're already 30
How
minutes
long have
in.
we been breathing?
Yeah, I have no clue, but it was not long enough for me. I'll tell you that much.
No. Next time we're gonna do a 20-minute session with you somewhere.
Absolutely. We'll do a little demo where I will be the guinea pig. Arno would be the pranayama specialist, of course, and we'll bring that to you. We already said that we have to meet again to talk about all these things because there's so much to go at.
This is not even 1/3.
It's not even
10%.
Absolutely,
maybe.
no, not even that. I would say.
Not even. It's
but
true.
we have fun and. And this was fantastic. I had been looking forward to this one for a long time.
Me too.
I'm happy we did it.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
And this was once again Meditation Amsterdam. And we'll see you guys on the next clip. And thanks for watching.